And we're live. Good evening. Hi, good evening everyone. Gandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. My name is James and I'm the community manager for the Resistance Trader. And tonight, we have our guest. Of course, meron tayong bisita with our live stream. None other than our guest is attorney Rafael Padilla. So tonight, our issue or the thing that we will be discussing is where we left off, kung saan tayo naiwan last time. If you remember guys, we had our interview with the CEO of PDAX, si Nichel Gaba, and marami tayong pinag-usapan doon. So ngayon, we will be hearing naman the side of the story nung mga nagko-complain, yung mga affected users represented, some of them represented by Attorney Padilla. So, Attorney Padilla, good evening po. Magandang gabi.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening, James. Good evening, Sly. Good evening, community. First of all, just call me Raf or Rafael.
Sige po.
I'm not so comfortable with attorney.
Sige. Sige, Rafi.
I'm happy to discuss, and share some insights on what's going on. Although, just some disclaimer. So I represent some of the affected users, no, in this case, regarding what happened to PDAX. And because of my involvement as legal counsel for these affected users, I have some restrictions. I cannot give or discuss certain details of the case for confidential reasons. As much as I want. It's interesting to hear information, material information coming from the other side, coming from my clients, coming from other affected users that are not my clients, but were but did share some critical information from media and even from regulators. It's just that I cannot disclose this information because I'm bound by confidentiality. Because I committed to keep it confidential. And then also because of a strategy as well. Practically, we don't want to lay down all our cards. So we cannot disclose some of those critical information that might be helpful for the favorable resolution of this case in favor of my clients. And then last disclaimer, I hope you understand, James, I hope it's okay. And for the community as well, I cannot be if we talk about PDAX, I cannot be objective as legal counsel representing some of the affected users. I'm obviously biased in favor of my clients. We can talk about other things, and I'll be happy to be objective, but not at this point. Not with respect to this to the PDAX case.
We understand.
I will be biased. I hope you don't mind that.
Sige po, sige po. No problem, attorney. We perfectly understand the situation that you are into. But before we proceed discussing all about these issues that happen, allow me first to give let's give first the audience a background of who Attorney Padilla or who Attorney Rafi is. Aside from being a full-time lawyer and of course the legal counsel for some of those clients.
Some of the
Oo. Pakilala natin, sino ba si Attorney Rafi yan? Attorney, yan.
So I'm a commercial attorney. I've been practicing law for 11 years now. I have been specializing in financial technology and crypto since 2015. So almost 6 years now. I was also formerly head of legal and compliance at SEI Ventures. Specifically, it's entity Remittance 8. Which is one of actually the second VCE, virtual currency exchange, licensed by the central bank. I love working at SEI. Really enjoy it. The company of my mentors there, Miguel Cuneta, John Bailon, Jardine Herodias, the OGs, in the Philippine crypto community. But there's
Nichel.
this very pressing call from private practice, no, which urged me to return to private practice and serve also other clients. So I had to depart in 2018, and I've been handling legal matters for several fintech and crypto projects here in the Philippines and in Southeast Asia.
Okay.
Last year, I also authored a book. I wrote Fintech Law and First Principles, published by Rex Bookstore. And I am also a faculty, a professor of law at San Beda School of sa Alabang School of Law since 2010 for 11 years now.
Thank you, attorney, for that introduction. No? So, very well said. So, tama, sabi mo nga,
Okay
you
na
work.
audio ko, no? Hindi naman
Okay naman, attorney. You sound good actually. So, yun. Yan. Guys, you have here Attorney Padilla, Attorney Rafi. He works with, sabi nga niya, he works with the OGs before. Yeah, sina Miguel. Yeah, we know the
Yep.
guy.
In fact, that's the main motivation for me, the impetus really. All right.
Okay.
It was very seductive. If John Bailon will ask you, would you like to work at SCI? Of course, I do.
Sige po,
Yeah,
attorney.
at that time, no. And in the context of 2017, no, the opportunity to handle the legal and compliance regulatory affairs of a regulated crypto business is quite rare, no?
Apo.
Maybe right now it's more common kasi marami ng licensed na VCEs and crypto businesses. But in 2017, this is quite rare, and so it was an opportunity na I cannot say no.
Yes, attorney. Actually, we will deal more about that. But before we discuss it further, I also would like to introduce our co-host. Kasama, we have here our companion, my co-host, si Sly Sylvester.
Like,
Say hi, say hi, Sylvester. There you go. Si Sly, by the way, he used also to work with an exchange. Ano naman siya, foreign cryptocurrency exchange. So he has an idea how it works as well. So yun, ang ganda pinag-usapan natin, attorney, that you mentioned a while ago yung tungkol sa mga VCE. So for the purpose of our listeners, yung VCE, these are what you call the virtual currency exchange. Yeah. So ito yung mga wallet na mayroong capacity to hold and trade cryptocurrency. Tama ba, attorney? Tama po yung intindi natin, ano? So it's actually the VCE are licensed and
yes, no.
regulated by DSP. Tama po. Diba? So yan yung mga expertise na ginag. Now, apparently, yung ating PDAX, yung company that we will be talking about right now, it's also an exchange. This is what I would like to clarify, attorney, in the first place. Kasi merong confusion in some of the communities na nagsasabi kasi there was this email na lumabas daw na receive ng mga users ni PDAX and telling na hindi daw sila regulated ni BSP. Can we clarify more on this? Kasi para just to lessen the confusion.
Okay. No, to be honest with you, I'm quite confused by that as well.
Oh,
And I would be happy to actually receive that email so I can assess it. Kasi we noted that that was reported and quoted, no, doon sa article ni Sir Bob Reyes, no. Yeah, but we want to really evaluate that kasi I heard something different from the BSP on this.
yeah.
And again, I'm in this tricky situation that I cannot
Yes.
reveal exactly what was the discussion, but it's to the effect that, diba, to the effect that this statement, no, might not be credible. I mean, yung quote na yon na if it's coming from a user, it's possible that there might be some error in communication, all right, among BSP regulators. But okay, let's clarify though, or if I can give my assessment on this, no.
Sige po, attorney.
Let's set aside what's stated, no, doon yung statement na yun. I've read that and it's quite confusing. Okay, let's set that aside. Is this matter within the jurisdiction of BSP? The answer is yes.
Okay.
PDAX is a BSP registered virtual currency exchange. Now, the updated term now is virtual asset service provider, VASP, and we can talk about that later. Where lies the difference? No, but point is PDAX is a BSP licensed BSP supervised financial institution. It is a registered money service business. It is a registered virtual currency exchange. And for that simple reason, this matter, what happened to PDAX, falls within the regulatory perimeter of the BSP. There are some aspects of this case that equally falls within the regulatory perimeter or ambit or jurisdiction of another financial regulator, that is the SEC. No? But it doesn't mean that it's not BSP's turf, it's SEC's turf. No? There are aspects, no, okay, that falls within the jurisdiction in relation to this case that falls within the jurisdiction of the BSP. And there are also aspects that falls within the jurisdiction of the SEC. That is why also in relation to the case that I'm handling for my client, one of the affected users, we filed a consumer complaint before the BSP, and then days later, we filed an investor complaint against the SEC. Not against the SEC, but before the SEC. All right.
So,
So that's just to clarify, no, objectively, no, the scenario here, no, that it falls within the jurisdiction of the BSP. Whatever stated there might be just some error, or we can investigate what happened there, but I don't believe that's correct statement of the position of the BSP in this case.
thank you, Attorney Ravi, for that clarification. At least we know kasi ganun yun din eh. When we interview Nish, and my honest to goodness opinion, although I'm not legally a legal expert, I can see and I can hear naman from them that they're honest and credible enough to say that the BSP is coordinating with them about this matter. Yan yung sinasabi niya. If you heard them during our interview, na they even have close communication about it with the BSP. So having said that, I believe ako na personally naniniwala ako na baka nga tama yung sinasabi mo that there is a miscommunication on that part na nung nagsasabi, may nagkiklaim na hindi daw regulated ng BSP. But thank you for that clarification. Now that it's clarified, well, sabihin na natin for as far as you are concerned, let us dig deeper. Tatanong ako about it, attorney, if you don't mind. My question is, 'di ba nung nalaman ng mga users that the price no for the kasi ang issue dito, bumaba yung presyo eh, 'di ba? Tapos nakabili sila. 'Di ba? That's ano eh, kung in a nutshell, para hindi na masyadong mahaba yung kwento, let's cut the long story in a short statement that PDAX, nagkaroon siya ng sell offer na around 300,000 pesos. Tama ba yan? So sabi naman ni PDAX, yan daw yung nangyari. Pero someone from the other end, ito yung claim ni PDAX nung nag-interview namin sila, na hindi naman na-fill in actually, inabonohan daw nila yung Bitcoin nung mga nakabili sa ganong presyo. Kasi hindi naman daw talaga na fill in yung gap, no? So there's someone who sold at that price level pero inabono nag-appear dun sa system nila. After appearing on their system, apparently there are some buyers from the other end na kumagat din at nakabili. And ang sabi nila, sa order book kasi nila, pinapaluwala nila. Hindi tinanong namin sila ng diretso. Sumagot naman din si Nish. Honestly, ang sabi niya, hindi naman daw kasi din sila blockchain based na in real time, mano-mano daw yung kanilang pagki-credit. So there's one wallet inside, parang in a simple term, may wallet sila doon na kapag may nag-trigger ng order, aabonohan ng wallet nila tapos kailangan punuan ng kabila nung nagsisell. Apparently, yung nag-sell, hindi daw talaga nag-sell ng gano'n. Wala daw talagang Bitcoin na ipinadala dun sa sell order na binigay niya. And yan yung premise, no? On the whole time that we were interviewing, yan yung
The
premise.
version.
Niche.
Mm.
Sige po, sige po. Yes, attorney.
So that's really an interesting version of what happened.
Oo.
And I'll be happy to flesh that out, no, one by one. Pwede nating ano yan. Medyo mahaba yung diniscuss mo. Hindi ko lang
Apo.
maalala lahat. And maybe I can randomly start at certain details. No?
Sige
And
po.
then balikan natin yung iba. But let me just quickly remark. Sorry, I was about to interrupt you earlier and I think I did.
Sige lang po.
But I wanted to quickly remark na buti pa si BSP nakikipag-cooperate. Buti nga nakikipag-cooperate sila sa BSP, no, si PDAX, kasi sa mga users hindi naman sila nakipag-cooperate. After nung message nila, ano nangyari? Are they even communicating with their users? It's been more than a week since we submitted our consumer complaint with the BSP. And according to the BSP, they have instructed already PDAX to communicate with my client, right, to sort this out. We haven't heard anything from them. Kaya ang nakakatuwa na nakikipag-cooperate sila kay BSP, na syempre regulator. Paano naman yung mga users? Diba? Yung customers nila, do they really care about their customers? O mga PR na statements lang yung mga sinasabi before ni Nichel, no? I really care, I feel bad about my users. If you really care about your users, then talk to your users. Diba? Cooperate with them. No? And I think it's a good starting point to unlock their accounts so that they can access their accounts, so that they can do what they need to do with their accounts. And as far as my client is concerned, no, the client's very transparent. The moment they unlock the account, my client will withdraw his funds there, right? I can again happily go back to that, but let's discuss first some of the yung version.
Sige po.
First, yung unfilled daw na meron akong parang dalawang points yung gusto kong I wanna hit 2 points here. One is yung sinasabi nilang unfilled orders, and second yung abono, kasi palagi kong naririnig yung abono and that's crazy because that's even the term. I'm not sure if you're just using that term, James, abono, or Nichel himself used that term, but it's crazy that I've been hearing that from their side, no, the term abono, no. Okay, so let's tackle first the unfilled orders. Let me just say from information that I have, from evidence that I have, meaning emails, marami naman sa atin dito, lalo sa community natin traders, you know what happens, di ba? Once your order is settled, once your order is filled, di ba? You receive an email. And that happens also in PDAX, no, confirming, di ba, yung transfer and that your account has been credited. No? That happened to my client. No? He has emails from PDAX confirming that those orders were filled. You can see that in his dashboard, sa computer niya, but he also has emails, no, proving that. And it's funny actually, kasi we only hear the other side. It's funny actually, and I've said this several times sa mga chats. It's funny kasi in between ng field orders ng client ko, merong preset price na nakalagay na 3 million, 3.1 million something. 3.1 million, tapos between that may 300,000. Tapos between that may 3 million. And we're not, for my client, I'm not taking this position for my client. I am just speculating on this. And a disclaimer, I don't have evidence also on this. No, this is just my speculation. But what does that suggest to me? What does that reflect? Yung theory na potentially fat finger to, I think should be investigated here. bakit may mga preset price na 3 million tapos may ano na may preset price na 300,000 at may preset price ulit na 3 million. So what happened there? Is it possible really na ano na nakalimutan pindutin na or merong nakalimutan na idagdag na zero and this, 'di ba? Shit happened, no?
Okay.
But that's on the field order na it's really unfilled, no? Let's talk about yung abono, no?
Yeah, sige. Actually, attorney, di ba, you're
Yeah,
asking
sige.
me, yeah,
Yeah.
you're asking me if I use that term. Indeed, I used that term when I interviewed PDAX kasi I would like the audience to understand if that is how it looks like. Kasi based on how it was stated during the interview, ganun nila pinortray eh. So,
Agree. Agree.
it's like,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
there's a money that they need to fill in kasi meron silang liquidity, yung liquidity pool, no? Their wallet, their liquidity pool filled in for that order pero walang pumasok coming from the sell order of that particular whale that they said na nag sell inside PDAX. So as a trader naintindihan ko 'yon. Naintindihan ko yung side na 'yan kung talagang mano-mano. But you seem to have a different take on that. Oh, which maybe you would like to expound and
Hindi,
make it clear.
yeah. Um, it's just crazy that they're using the term abono kasi common naman sa financial service yung usually meron silang I believe the term that they use here is I forgot the term specifically. Let me just try to remember that. But it's common for a financial intermediary, no, to advance certain funds, no, to be able to process certain transactions, to settle certain transactions. But it doesn't mean that just because they advance some cash or they advance some crypto, does not mean that, di ba, there's no substance in the transaction, that the transaction is invalid, no? Um, kaya, kaya, kaya pag narinig yan ng ibang financial intermediaries na nag-abono, lahat naman, most ng financial intermediaries naman talaga nag-aabono. That's part of the business model eh. Di ba? Kasi that simplifies the settlement, right? That simplifies the transactions. And you
Indeed.
as an intermediary, your goal is to make the transaction simpler for your end users. So if you have to advance cash, you do many things to streamline the process. And one of them, di ba, as a financial institution is some point you will advance certain cash or assets, no? So bakit sisisihin ng pag-aabono dito sa sa naging problem when it's something that is common, no, in practice.
Okay. Fair enough, attorney. Actually, naintindihan ko din naman na yun nga, it's a common practice. Pero
At
baka
ang
kasi,
at saka
yeah,
oo,
sige. Sige, sige.
bukod sa nag-abono sila, kasalanan ba ng mga users kung as they say, we don't have evidence of this yet. No, we only have to take their words on this, no. Even the regulator has not said anything on this yet, 'di ba? Pero ang version nila, ang claim nila, ang sinasabi nila is this, 'di ba? There was an order, 'di ba, that did not have the underlying, no, that and asset, no, or collateral, yung sinasabi nila. Basta there's yun daw yung reason. Ba't kasalanan ng ba ng mga users yon? And second, paano kaya mangyayari sa system yon? Di ba? Hindi pa nga natin alam kung paano nangyari yun eh. Paano napayagan na may ganun eh. There are speculations, and again, we're not taking this position. This is me. I will remove my hat as legal counsel for my client. No? But this
Sige.
is just some of the speculations, no, shots, no. Because we're trying to understand how it might be possible, this claim that their system was, di ba, able to allow this unfunded order. Okay? And the speculations are, the suspicions are, di ba, there are trading bots here.
Okay.
And yung mga bots na yon, di ba, may be unfunded. No, they might be unfunded. And what could be the reason why there's a trader there or there's an account there that's unfunded? No? And the suspicion is it's because it's controlled by PDAX themselves. No? Maybe they're trading bots or market making bots. That's really another kind of worm. That's another potential regulatory issue with PDAX. Okay. What I'm saying here, if this is true, then lalo mong kung totoo to na bot nila yon, yung naglagay ng sell order na unfunded, di ba? Anong problema doon? Sisisihin mo yung mga affected users for something that was actually your fault, right? And I don't want to speculate further on why they have bots there. Okay, I don't want to. But it's something that they might have to explain to the regulator.
Yes, Lai. Your audio is not working. Pero
Okay.
sige.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Go, Lai.
Actually, I want to ask the question since we're on this regarding the bots, but it's more in terms of is it possible in this scenario, I guess, or in regards to this discussion, to request for, like, let's say, an audit log of the actions that took place on that day, which is causing all this? That way we can review the transactions. Is that within legal rights, I guess, is the question.
Short answer is yes. Okay.
Okay.
But here's my problem. I've heard Nichel and sa mga statements ni PDAX that they are already like rewriting or something the ledgers, they're fixing it, doing this and that.
Actually,
What's my issue there? What's my issue there if they're doing this unilaterally? In my view, this is quite dangerous, as this might expose them to this might be in substance a tampering of evidence, and tampering of evidence as potential criminal exposure. And I know they're saying that they're doing this in coordination or with the BSP, and maybe, as they say, there's some oversight in fixing the ledger, rewriting the transactions, correcting the transactions. Okay, all right. But there comes my issue again. May representative from financial regulator pero walang representative sa affected users. Okay? But it's not, we're not yet, this is not yet over. Okay? If this is being allowed to be done, nothing stops the affected users from questioning later why this is being rewritten, without their involvement or without their oversight, on whether this, kasi kapag nire-write mo yan, pwede mong gawin anong assurance na they're correcting it objectively and not to benefit themselves. What's the assurance?
Actually,
Trusted
attorney.
intermediary, BSP license holder.
Actually, attorney, to shed more light on that. Allow me to give some some grain of how we did the interview last time. Nung kausap namin si Nish about that trading bots, liquidity provider, I asked that question actually. I asked that question particularly. And ano niya yan? It was clear, he said clearly na wala. Hindi sila
Walang what? I want to hear that. Walang what?
Nung tinanong ko yung kung meron silang mga liquidity provider, if they have their internal liquidity providers, like traders who trade para magkaroon sila ng na liquidity, I asked that question there. So, sabi niya, they're partnered with traders, pero they treat them as traders, not as in-house. Yan yung term during that time. So, yun yung pinag-usapan namin. And well, yung truth niyan nasa sa kanya yan. So pero yun yung statement nila. And during that time also, yung concern mo about the rewriting, we asked that We also asked that na since kino-correct ninyo, ano yung assurance, and the answer was they are being regulated, and sinasabi while they're doing it, the regulators are on it. Something like that. So, yun yung to that effect. So, to be fair, kung titignan naman natin, kung may regulators nga naman na nandiyan dyan, it might be, no? It might be impartial. So, well, you all have the right. Sabi mo nga, yun lang naman yung kailangan mong idiin din, di ba? That you wanted the representative, may regulator, pero dapat yung end user meron din. So, something like that. So, yun yung gusto nating i-highlight for you. Tama ba?
Oo, pero hindi naman mangyayari yun sa ngayon kasi hindi naman nila kinakausap yung mga affected users. Right? Did they even like convene them or invite them or tell them that, hey, this is how we're coordinating? Do they get reports? From what the last time I know from my client, my client's account is still locked, and according to PDAX, they will not unlock it unless he returns the BTC.
Okay. That's clearly stated.
Yep,
Okay.
sa email.
Okay. Sige,
Okay,
sige.
so itong mga unlock na yung mga accounts na to na currently suspended, we don't know kung ma-activate pa yan until ibalik nung mga affected users yung BTC or whatever crypto they have withdrawn from the platform that PDAX is now requiring them to return.
Okay.
Yun ang condition eh. So it's not like it's not like merong technical issues, this and that. It's because of the the condition, the requirement, call it whatever you want, but it looks like hostage to me, right? They will not reactivate the accounts until the BTC is returned.
Actually, with that being
another reason. Go ahead.
Actually, with that being said, that's actually a cause for concern because wouldn't you think that PDAX, being like this exchange, they should have control over the wallets? So my question then becomes why the hostage taking? They can. Why the hostage taking? It feels like there's PDAX. Whoever's running it isn't really PDAX. That's what it's sounding like to me. If they don't have control over the accounts, why are they asking users to return the Bitcoin when, well, you're PDAX. You can control this.
Because those BTC or whatever crypto asset, but from the affected users that I was able to talk to, they were able to withdraw the BTC.
Okay.
Right? From their PDAX account to their external wallet. Meron pa ngang may mga speculation pa nga na sinasabi, ba't nila inalis sa account nila? Siguro guilty sila. No, guilty sila na
yan yung susunod kong itatanong, attorney, kasi
but let's
may
not
mga ganyan.
forget many of these are traders. There are legitimate reasons why you will be withdrawing and moving your funds from one exchange to another, di ba? #arbitrage, di ba?
Yeah.
And then why is it so difficult to understand that some of these users will withdraw the funds? But why is that so important that they were able to withdraw the funds? Because that indicates clearly, very, very clearly, definitely, that the transaction has been settled and the transaction is final.
Yeah. I agree.
Kasi meron tayong concept sa settlement systems natin. We call it DVT scheme. Delivery versus payment scheme. Granted, PDAX is not a securities trading platform. But the principle also applies that you only deliver the asset upon payment. And my client's account was debited. Alright? Nabawasan yung funds niya. Hindi nga binabalik ni PDAX yung funds na yun eh. O ngayon baka magka-idea pa si PDAX na dapat niya ibalik yung funds ng client ko. Alright?
I mean the fiat currency.
They're sincere about reversing the transaction. No. Ganito kasi yung trade nung isang client ko is peso to BTC.
Okay.
So that 300K. He purchased that. Alright? His account was debited. Alright? Trader siya. Okay? I can't tell, and to be honest with you, I don't know why he removed it from his account. He withdrew it from his account. Transferred it to an external wallet. Alright? But again, I'm telling you already, you know naman as traders, for this community, you know why you do that. Diba? Hindi naman red flag yon. That there's something criminal here. All right? But he did that. But that tells you the asset has been delivered. Why? Because he has paid already, no, for that BTC. And that BTC wasn't just sitting in his account; he was even able to withdraw it. No, in fact, if you ask me, no, kaya nga sinasabi ko malakas ang kaso ng mga kahit nung mga other affected users na ngayon nakalock yung account nila kasi nire-rewrite nire-reverse yung mga transactions, no. The moment na nasa account na yon, dapat na yon, indication na yon that the asset has been delivered. All right? And therefore, final. The delivery is an indication that the settlement has been finalized and therefore irreversible. Diba? Yan din yung ibig sabihin doon sa term ni PDAX that you will see in doon sa sa terms and conditions niya, to the effect that orders once executed is final and irreversible. Diba? Nasa ngayon? Nasa terms and condition na yon. Okay. With more reason, hindi lang the BTC wasn't just sitting doon sa account ng client ko. My client was even able to withdraw it, which indicates that he has control and therefore it has been delivered. And again, that delivery indicates the finality of the transaction, settlement. Ito yung concept natin sa law na hindi nila maintindihan settlement finality. Alright? Iba yung settlement finality sa legal finality. Okay, what's the difference? Under our law, under the National Payment Systems Act, certain transactions, particularly payment systems, but even the principle applies to security settlement. Once paid, and the asset has been delivered, and in fact, doon nga sa DVP scheme, delivery versus payment scheme, the SOP is they will only deliver upon payment of the asset or sa securities trading security. All right? The fact na nabayaran na yan na deliver na yan indicates payment and therefore the transaction is final and irreversible. That's settlement finality. Hindi mo na pwedeng ma-reverse yon basta na-settle na siya. All right? Final. Okay. Now, pwedeng may issue. What about mistakes? What about errors? And we're not suggesting that there's an error here or a mistake here. Diba? I'm not saying that because I don't even believe the story that this is just a glitch. Alright? That this is really just an error. Right? That was beyond their control. I don't believe that. No. But nevertheless, assuming that this is a mistake, diba? What's what's the consequence of that mistake? Will that mistake authorize now the reversal of this transaction? The answer is no. You cannot reverse the transaction once the settlement has been finalized. No? Yun yung concept ng settlement finality. If you have legal issues, if you feel that there's a mistake here, if you feel like you have a legal course of action to demand the reversal or demand the return of the funds, diba? That's another case. That's another cause of action. That's something that either you ask the client, na ibalik niya yon because I have the legal right to do so, o di kaya kung ayaw ibigay ng client, they file a case in court, to demand the recovery of that asset. And it will be the court that will reverse the transaction. Not because there's no settlement finality, because there is settlement finality already. But because of this legal issue, there is no legal finality yet. So that's one thing na kinaklaro. Kaya nga sinasabi namin sa PDAX oh, yes, yeah, you're saying na may mistake dito, may glitch dito. But that's not relevant. Why are you reversing the transaction? Why are you requiring the clients to return the funds? No. Well, the return can be done as some form of like extrajudicial demand, right? And I respect that. And then eventually, kung ayaw talaga ng mga affected users na ibalik, then they sue the client, these affected users for the recovery ng BTC na na-withdraw nila. Assuming again that there is really a legal reason or cause of action for the reversal. Again, let me clarify, I don't think so. Okay. But the transaction itself cannot be unilaterally reversed anymore because it has attained settlement finality already. And this is the hardest thing for them to understand. No? Um, and um, and I feel bad about the letters that they sent their affected users. No, I felt like these users are being bullied. And then this is really the reason for me as well, no, to take the case for for some of the affected users.
Mhm. Okay. Noted on that, attorney. Actually, Attorney Rafi, no, looking at it, no, we can understand na why you're passionate, and I see na based from your explanation, there's this legal aspect of yung finality ng settlement that the clients are holding on to. So this is the legal aspect of it. Pero syempre, alam natin pareho as traders naman, ano, and new this actual industry being new. Well, of course, hindi rin ako legal expert. Again, that's just a disclaimer. This is just my parang ano ko lang to, speculation ko lang din na potentially they're banking on potentially they might be banking on the fact that the regulation for our itong industriya, cryptocurrency, blockchain is at its parang infancy and maybe needs clarity. Actually, doon ako nag-end during my interview with them. I mentioned that this might be a blessing in disguise too. Kasi this brings clarity eh. I don't know if you will agree, but I do believe so. Na itong nangyari na to, this provides clarity both for regulators, users, and the community as a whole. Kasi ngayon, magkakaroon ng linaw how to settle or how to treat cryptocurrency inside a wallet or as an asset or as a currency itself. Kasi diba, parang yan yung ano, yan yung mga pwede pa natin pag-usapan mamaya. Pero yan yung ano, yan yung mga things that sabi nga nila, stone left unturned. Parang ganyan. Na kailangan with this issue at hand, nagkakaroon tayo ng linaw. Would you agree, attorney?
I think I will agree with you. No?
Mm-mm.
Isa nga sa issues na na-raise kasi this is crypto, this is new, this is not yet mature, regulation is not yet developed, no? Therefore, yung principle natin sa financial service, no, that the financial intermediary should avoid, 'di ba, conflict of interest, maybe just maybe is not applicable here. But of course, that's not true. No? From a legal aspect or from a fairness aspect, that is not true.
Okay.
So kung sa platform mo that you're operating, all right, the platform that you're operating, you're an operator of a trading platform, and in that same platform you have traders there, diba? That's conflict of interest. Sige, let's clarify whether they can do that. Let's also clarify if they can have market makers in their trading platform that they operate. And they also do the market making in the same trading platform. And I'm not sure if you said earlier that they deny that they have market makers in their platform. Okay. That
Ang
they have
verbatim
liquidity
question ko doon,
provider in
attorney.
their platform.
Sige. Attorney, ang
Okay.
verbatim question ko about the liquidity providers, if they have traders, kung meron sila, in-house to PDAX, yun nga, yung market make,
Let's simplify the question. Do they allow their in-house traders to trade in their own trading platform?
to that
Okay,
respect, ang
that's the
sagot nila,
question.
wala. To that respect, ang sagot nila sa atin, wala. Sabi nga nila, we
Okay.
have partners, pero they treat it as clients just how they treat the other traders too. So, hindi to talaga on a legal or personality, speaking, walang personality na associated with PDAX. That's how we end up discussing when I asked that question. Okay. So yun yung ano nila. So yung speculation, that's how they clarified it. Pero yung it's up for people or for entities to investigate further kung totoo nga. Kasi 'di ba, we don't know, wala naman tayong view sa loob eh. So yun yung another aspect on. So the
Exactly.
speculations, sinagot nila yan na hindi wala silang ganyan, and yun lang.
But I do hope they're being honest there.
Mm,
Okay.
mm,
Because I think that's the correct approach.
mm,
They cannot have, di ba, traders trading in their own trading platform or
mm.
market makers market making in their own platform. Kasi sa conventional financial service, magkahiwalay ang exchange, magkahiwalay ang traders, magkahiwalay ang broker dealers, magkahiwalay ang market makers.
Mhm.
Sa crypto lang naman sama-sama lahat 'yan eh. Okay. Okay lang kung offshore ka na exchange. Pero kung regulated ka ng BSP, 'di ba? Or you're catering to local traders here in the Philippines, and in your platform you also have assets that may be considered as a security, therefore your platform can be viewed as a securities trading platform, then even SEC has the authority to assert jurisdiction with respect to what you're doing.
Pag-usapan natin further, attorney, yung attorney Rafi, yung part na yan na since hindi explicitly implied that on PDAX, cryptocurrency is treated as a security. Hindi naman din, well, when we read, I also have a wallet in PDAX. So when we read it, it's currency exchange, something like that. So your virtual currency over your fiat currency or other virtual currency likewise. So ngayon, having said that, kailan papasok? That's the question eh. When will the SEC come into the picture? Just for clarification, para lang din sa pag-intindi ng ating mga viewers tonight.
If in their trading platform, okay, they list or allow the trading of tokens that are in the nature of a security. In that case, they will become a trading venue for securities.
So what?
Trading venues, whether you call it exchange or trading platform, whatever you want to call it, right? That is being regulated by the SEC.
Okay.
E in SEC stands for exchange. Let's not forget that.
So wouldn't that open up for if that was the case, that PDAX is I guess buying and selling within the exchange, of course, the whole idea of, let's say, security tokens or something like that. Wouldn't this also open up the ground for more like legal battles in the future for them if that was the case?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. In my private chat with one of our friends in the community, I said, yeah, PDAX needs to address this problem now. And at least for my client, the demand is so simple.
Right.
Unlock the account. That's a very simple demand. Unlock the account, and my client will withdraw his account, his funds there. If they want to sue my client later, right, for the return of the BTC, yeah, they can do that. Or they can talk to my client. We don't need to go to court, no, to resolve yung sinasabi nating legal finality. All right? Kami naman sa client ko, pinanghahawakan namin, kaya they need to unlock the account so that my client can withdraw the account. Kasi settlement finality. At yan din, settlement finality ang gagamitin namin para ma-defend namin yung BTC na hinihingi ni pinapabalik ni PDAX. They're not entitled to that.
Right.
Right. And they feel free to argue before the court why you feel you have legal reasons to obtain a reversal. Sure, but convince the court first. Or better yet, convince us. In which case, we might be able to, arrange for a settlement here. Or maybe, just maybe, if my client is reasonable, really reasonable, they might see, PDAX case, ibalik niya ng buo yung BTC. Okay. But going back to your question, yes, this issue will open other potential legal or regulatory issues that PDAX might be exposed to.
Right, because because earlier in this conversation, I believe we mentioned that PDAX is BSP licensed. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And then
Yes.
but just to confirm, just to clarify, but PDAX isn't like SEC licensed.
Yes, which could be a problem.
Right. That's why I asked that question.
Which could be a problem because there might be an activity. So this is not exclusive. Just because you have BSP license, then you don't need an SEC license. It doesn't work like that.
Right.
It depends on your activity.
Right. So
go ahead.
So,
Go
right,
ahead.
regarding the SEC part, then, if let's say an account holder holds an SEC token, technically, there.
Security token, let's say.
I'm just saying here as an example. Maybe there's an account holder there, who's been affected
Yeah,
that could be holding,
my
let's say.
client, my client holds XRP.
Okay, so
So that's a more concrete example.
okay, sure, let's use that example then. But because that would be under, I guess, SEC guidelines because of the token is viewed as an SEC or some kind of securities. That's right, security token. Um, wouldn't uh, wouldn't that also mean that there is grounds that, hey, PDAX, you got to release those tokens? First of all, you're not supposed to be selling,
Correct.
right? Selling or
Correct.
trading that. So that's a
Yes.
double whammy for PDAX to handle.
That's a damage control that they should be doing, right? Like
Right.
they might be supporting security tokens right now, and they have to immediately cease from supporting those tokens. And
According to that,
this has been the meat of our investor complaint, that
okay.
in their platform they do have. So this is not a hypothetical problem. All right,
Oh.
PDAX right now, in our opinion, and this is what we argue, are currently supporting the listing of security tokens. Okay, one of that security tokens, according to our investor complaint, is XRP. Okay, triple
Mhm.
XRP. Happy to
Mhm.
explain that. And there's another one, and might be something controversial. All right, we also asserted, I'll have to ask my client for permission if they want to, because I'm happy to argue and explain as to why, but this might surprise your community. We also argued in our investor complaint that Tether USDT is a security. Okay, and then
Actually,
that's
that's
supporting XRP and USD makes them a securities trading platform. And without SEC registration, they could not do this.
Do we have a clear stand as kasi 'di ba you're also I believe you're also familiar with the worldwide or yung kung paano tinitreat ng worldwide community si XRP and si USDT. Although for example si USDT in some countries they won over that case that they're not a security. Some of the
Medyo
countries.
mahirap, it's difficult to wrap our head around that concept
Oo.
that a stable coin can be considered as a security. And I get that fully. I really get that. All
Mm.
right, I truly understand that, no. Like for example, how can you, kasi lalo na our community might be familiar with how we test, di ba? On how you determine whether a crypto asset, for example, is a security, no, or an investment contract. And
Oo.
one of the critical factors there is the so-called expectation, reasonable expectation of profits,
Yes.
right?
Mm.
Okay. How can you expect profits if this is a stable coin, right?
Exactly. Oh, yeah, yeah.
I get that. I get that. But here's what we said doon sa ano namin sa investor complaint namin. Sabi namin, well, yung investment contract na analysis, okay, yeah, and how we test, lalo na yung reasonable expectation of profits na prong or element is only relevant when you're trying to analyze whether something is an investment contract and
Okay.
therefore a security. Okay. But under the Securities Regulation Code, there is a long list of securities. Investment contract is only one of them. And as we say in our investor complaint, okay, USD Tether falls within the definition of a security. No, doon sa ano na yon, sa definition of what a security is. Not under the investment contract na ano na element na example, but with respect to other types of securities. And we also said, even assuming that this is stable, then therefore you cannot expect that much profit. Yung definition natin ng profit is now very subjective eh. Consider, especially amid this macroeconomic environment where in many countries, kahit yung mga bonds, either negative interest rate sila or zero sila, di ba? Yung ma-maintain mo lang yung yung value ng ng investment mo, could already be construed or interpreted as expectation of profits. Do you understand what I'm trying to say here? Because
Right.
of quantitative easing, because of inflation, no, unprecedented quantitative easing, negative interest rates, ano ka na nga, nag-deposit ka na nga ng funds mo, di ba? Nag-bonds ka na nga, pero nangyayari sa'yo, nababawasan pa, negative yung interest rate. Pero wala namang question that those bonds are considered security. What more this asset that can enable you to stabilize or ensure, no, that you're storing this value? Can that be interpreted now as a security? And in our theory, the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So we try to convince the SEC now that the tether is, and there's another critical factor. I know it's already 7:57, but let
No,
me
it's
just say
okay.
this. Kasi lalo na, I feel I need to justify it.
Oh, keep
Yung
going, man. This is good stuff.
that
Yeah.
tether is a security. Okay. Yung problem sa provably back na stablecoin, no. Ang concept kasi namin is unless you can prove that you are 100% back or fully reserved, di ba? The chances are likely yung stablecoin na i-issue mo, no, can be considered as a security, no. It's a strong factor. It's not conclusive, but it's a strong factor. In the case of DAI, no, yung sa MakerDAO with decentralized stablecoin, walang problem 'yon kasi over-collateralized 'yon. In the case of USDC, di ba, yung sa Circle, yung USD coin, wala ding problem kasi they have accounting reports, audit reports proving that they have full reserve. Ang problem kay Tether, di ba, early last week, sinabi ng di ba, ng Office of the New York Office of the Attorney General. They have evidence, kaya nga they were lambasted, no, by the Office of the New York Attorney General that they don't have full reserve. Tether has been saying that they have full reserve and they're happy to prove it. But before the New York Office of the Attorney General, they were not able to prove that. So we're using that as evidence that Tether is not fully backed, and this further bolsters our theory that Tether is a security. We'll let the SEC decide that. But as far as we're concerned, the fact that PDAX is supporting the listing of Tether and XRP, hindi pa nga natin napag-usapan yung XRP di ba? Makes it a securities trading platform, which they cannot lawfully operate without SEC registration, because SEC is the regulator of exchanges and trading venues.
So, attorney, based from that statement, I understand naman. So, there can be technicalities on it about the security. Having said that, we will also be dragging in some of the other VCEs who also carry the same. Kasi, basically, this is an industry practice. Hindi na ako magna-name drop ng mga local VCEs natin. But I know for a fact that they do carry like XRP and USDT in their platforms too, and they're being regulated by BSP. But according to you, dragging SEC in the picture with this case in PDAX, although this can be a clarifying matter for everyone in the community, it will be it will send shockwaves hindi lang kay PDAX. This will send shockwaves even to the other VCs probably who carries the same. Like, basta kung meron kang XRP and USDT So, is that correct thing to say that this will be a call for other exchanges to take action?
Yes, and that they should be responsible enough to conduct their due diligence on the tokens that they're supporting, which, by the way, is an obligation that they promised the BSP as part of their licensing condition. Nasa licensing conditions yan ng mga VCEs that they should be conducting due diligence of the token that they're listing. And for me, I'm sorry to say, but my clients don't support XRP. May mga clients ako na VCE. My clients don't support USDT. I'm happy to recommend to my clients USDC because we can defend it. USDT, there's no way. And this is before this PDAX issue. Been telling my client, no, stay away from USDT. Right? And by the way, yung sa USDT, hindi lang yung securities law implications. Marami pang ibang issues dyan that are more relevant kay BSP. Right? But we've been telling that. So, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to drag the other exchanges here. But yes, you are right. This is a call to action that they should be more diligent in listing the tokens that they support, because supporting the sale or purchase of cryptocurrencies that are in the nature of a security will make them a trading venue, no, for or actually kahit hindi i-disregard na lang natin yung trading venue, no, kahit sabihin natin like for example OTC lang sila, di ba, hindi, wala naman silang trading platform. Okay, OTC lang sila. Nevertheless, they will still breach Securities Regulation Code. Kasi sa Securities Regulation Code, ang pinagbabawal, the sale or purchase or the promotion, the issuance, distribution of unregistered security. At kung OTC ka at nagbebenta ka ng XRP or USDT, you're really at risk here. And by the way, yeah, this is a complicated legal issue, and we will defer to the SEC to decide on this. But for me as a legal advisor, I've taken the position that they could be a security. In fact, I'm confident that they are. Right? But of course, we due respect to the SEC, SEC will decide on this.
Okay. So medyo may na-touch din tayo dito na mainit na issue, no? Kasi 'di ba, alam natin as traders, XRP has their own share of battle in the United States,
Yes.
particularly with this with the securities issue. And wala pang clarity in that part of the world. Now, apparently there are some mga countries like Japan, for example, nag-declare sila that for them XRP is not a security. So, yan, may mga ganyang news. So, hindi din natin alam dito sa atin kung
James,
paano. Yes, sir.
Okay. You are correct that judicially speaking, this case has not reached the court, and so we don't have that settled decision on whether XRP, judicially settled or court decided, all right, assessment on whether XRP is a security. Okay, but let's clarify this. The USEC has clearly taken that position, and that is exactly why they are suing, diba, Ripple Labs in the Federal District Court in New York. Right? We've seen yung assessment, yung report sa Japan, sure, but let's remember, right? Securities law in different jurisdiction vary from country to country. I'm just saying, applying Philippine law, all right, we can also interpret, okay, we can also consider Ripple XRP as an investment contract and therefore a security, which cannot be sold to the public here in the Philippines without registration with the SEC.
Okay, understood, attorney. So the same goes with USDT too, right? So in other jurisdiction, can be determined na hindi sila security, but for our law, as far as our laws are concerned, based on your interpretation, these guys are security in its nature. Anyway, thank you very much for that clarification. That's very, very educating, especially. I personally believe this is educating also for me, na may natutunan tayo pagdating dyan sa mga token na yan. So maganda na pag-usapan natin, not just the PDAX issue and so on, but also that part na meron tayong, may dyan maraming intricacies at saka yung mga sensitive na like ngayon, hot topic yan, not just in the Philippines, but also abroad. So talagang, anyway, thank you very much for sharing that in a piece of information, Attorney Rafi. So, the next question, kung okay ka pa, before we wrap up all of this, kasi may mga questions dito sa sa chat, sa stream natin. They were being asked, going back to the PDAX issue. This might, sabi ni Wendell Labaw, this might be a stupid question, but pwede daw bang mag-trade sa sariling platform, legally speaking, yung PDAX employee? For example, I'm an employee of PDAX or any exchange, so dati let's not single out PDAX. Kung halimbawa, sina coins.ph, yung mga yan. Kung meron akong, kung empleyado ako, am I legal to trade, buy and sell inside those platforms as an employee?
Okay. Legally speaking, it's a gray area. Okay. But from a conflict of interest, no, or as from a fairness perspective, okay, I think there should be a policy for that. It's not necessarily a no. It's not necessarily a no. That no, they cannot trade, or as a policy they should not allow. But there should be some policy in place here regulating how, or yeah, how employees can also trade. No? Kasi otherwise, this is very much susceptible to insider trading. No? And I know for one, I know, although I will be happy if somebody from Binance can confirm this. Okay? Because I know something, I was informed by somebody who is employed in Binance, okay, that he needs to deal with this problem. And the problem is he has a Binance account. She has a Binance account. Okay, she has a Binance account. And as a policy, Binance that does not allow, according to her, okay, she told me, according to her, Binance employees are not allowed to have an account in Binance. No? I'm happy, please, if there's anybody from Binance who can clarify this issue. And why do I know this? Nagchismisan lang ba kami? Hindi, kasi ang question sa akin, the lady's question to me is, how can I prove to Binance that this is not really my account? The thing is, the lady was actually working somewhere, and so may trading account sila, and she's maintaining that, right? All right, but it's not really her account, and so I was consulted to like advise her kung how can I explain this to Binance that this is not really my account. So if that is true, if Binance really has that policy prohibiting or restricting, okay, their employees to have a Binance account, I think that's a great practice. And that might reflect the best practice on how, di ba, these trading platforms could avoid conflict of interest.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I can kind of like add something to this. Again, I can't speak for Binance, but what I'm saying is, yeah, since I used to work for an exchange, I remember this one policy we had, and here's what it was all about. Because the servers were set in that country, okay, let's say the servers were set, let's say in Singapore, okay, for the exchange, right? Any employee living in Singapore could not create an account with that exchange. Um, and I think the reason was because it wasn't so much like conflict of interest, probably it was, but it was just more like because the servers were in Singapore, it's more like they didn't want any like stories going around like, oh, it's insider trading. I think maybe that's the precedent why maybe for the Binance thing. I'm just saying.
Yep.
Mm. Yeah, that's a good insight, Sly. But I agree with what Attorney and Sly mentioned, that for employees to avoid yung mga ganitong ano no, not necessarily rumors, but issues and concerns as well, there should be a something in place. So this
Avoid
etong
the problem.
itong nangyayari ngayon with the concern, not just PDAX, no, but the trading community as a whole, is very significant in clarifying. So that's
Yeah,
the good thing. The good thing about what
mapa-front run
happened.
tayo.
Oo. Tama. So this is
Mapa-front run tayo if you
uh,
have like insiders trading in their own platform.
correct, correct, correct. So yeah, this is also good, no, para sa akin, dahil nagkakaroon ng linaw yung mga regulatory side of our industry, attorney. So yan, magandang magandang pag-usapan yan further. But of course, we would, in as much as we would love to discuss more about it, let's go back a little more, a little with the PDAX thing. Now, gusto ko lang i-clarify, aside from the legal aspect of it, claim na may claim yung ating mga complainants, ano exactly exactly, no, what do they want to happen? Just to set the record straight. Dito sa issue ng PDAX, ano yung gustong mangyari ng mga customers natin? Do they want, kasi 'di ba ang claim natin, they were locked kasi they were able to buy legally. Kung sa perspective mo, they are able to acquire legally cryptocurrency based on the parameters of the exchange. Wala silang violate. Apparently, now that the exchange deemed, no, sila, tingin nila na ano sila, na lamangan sila dun sa transaction, they want the transaction be reversed. Kasi nga, ang para sa kanila, they believe wala namang mayroong nag-sell order dyan, wala naman nagbigay. Yun nga, inabunuhan namin. So, it's just rightfully for us to get it back in return. Kasi nga, yun nga, inabunuhan nila. So, that's what it. Ngayon, having said that, ano yung exact naman to set the records na, yun yung gusto mangyari ni PDAX eh. Ano naman ang gusto mangyari ng mga customers natin? So, ano lang natin yung legal aspect of it. Ano yung ano nila? What do they want to happen in their side?
So I can only speak for my client.
Sige po.
Okay, my client wants his account to be unlocked. Okay, and yeah, he will withdraw his funds. That's it. And with respect to the demand of PDAX to return the BTC. Okay, my client obviously wants them to stop from doing that. No? Like you have no claim for this. And I can only speculate that the other affected users have the same interest, right? That those transactions should be maintained, not reversed, and with respect to the BTC or other crypto assets that they were able to withdraw and PDAX wants to be returned, they want PDAX to fuck off.
Right. No, that's understandable. Going back to the idea of PDAX wanting them to return the clients to return the Bitcoin, I want to go back to the idea that you mentioned about settlement finality. According to blockchain, in terms of how it is, the process of blockchain, once the transaction is confirmed on the blockchain, wouldn't that provide precedence for settlement finality?
Blockchain is settlement finality in code.
Right.
Because remember, as I said earlier, sa terms and conditions ni PDAX, may settlement finality doon. Sabi,
oh, right,
all those
right,
funds are final and irreversible. But what happened here? There's a central intermediary. There's a trusted intermediary
right.
that is happy to disregard that rule, right? That they're supposed to enforce. Blockchain, on the other hand, is code, right?
Right, that's correct.
It implements its own rule. Right? The network, the protocol, it implements its own rule.
Right. So
it's hard-coded settlement finality.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. So that basically means if objectively speaking, looking at this entire scenario now, okay, hard-coded finality, as you just mentioned, and then we have settlement finality according to the terms and agreements of PDAX. Technically, in this case, PDAX doesn't really have a ground to stand on.
Their ground is, they're saying, is under the terms and conditions, they can reverse transactions for certain mistakes or errors.
Right.
Something to that effect. Feel free to read it. It's there. I don't want them to say that I'm like putting it in a
right.
way that sounds so simplistic and ridiculous. But in substance, that's how I understand the term. That they have a say. If there's a mistake, they can reverse the transaction. That's their ground.
Okay, but let's okay. So I get that part, but but what I'm trying to say is this: technically, blockchain you can't reverse it anyway, so there's no point in all this. This also means that the transaction, the settlement, right, where the client, if let's say he got the Bitcoin at 300,000, because that was done on chain. Yeah, that was done on chain, meaning the settlement was done on chain. The exchange gave the client X amount of Bitcoin for settlement purposes. So technically, what I'm trying to get at as blockchain already provides the settlement
Evidence.
finality thing. Okay, then if we were to check the audit records of PDAX of them sending the payment to the client, that would already like finish this case basically in a sense. What I'm trying to say is like I side with you on this and I side with your client, but it's more like um, I really feel that there's something going on here in where I feel that why the hostage taking part, I really feel like it's more like, hey, we kind of don't have the liquidity right now. Either give it back or something something. That's what I'm feeling from this entire conversation because if you're in exchange you made and it's legal, everything it looks legal according to this entire conversation. There was no bots involved. I'm assuming that this was an actual person on in front of the screen making the trade. Okay, so that's an organic trade. So if I'm assuming your client's account or people who were also affected, whose accounts were locked out and they were in front of their screens doing organic trades, it kind of makes you wonder, why the hostage taking unless you don't have the liquidity. That's what it really feels like it comes down to sometimes in this conversation. But
And
but yeah, that's just
let
my
me
point.
let me just quickly remark again, removing my
Right.
as a legal counsel and me just speculating on what happened here. If you're saying that you think that this is an organic trade and they're saying there's no bot, then could it be really the case that there was an error here?
I
Because
I
again,
I
let me
don't think
remind you the
so.
preset prices. The preset price, I mean, fat finger case.
Right, right, right.
Uh, some of the field orders of my client are 3 million, some are 300,000. One is 301 million, I think. So you see, 301 million, 3 million, 301 million, 300,000, and 3 million. We're talking about what they priced Bitcoin at that time that this happened.
Right, correct.
That was the preset price.
Mm-hmm.
And
Hmm.
these are, by the way, these are information that we forwarded to the BSP and SEC. I would be happy to disclose it here with my client's permission. But I will be happy to show those emails confirming the field orders, right? And those preset prices. So I'm just saying this right now because you said you think this might be organic trades. Pwede
Yes.
kaya talaga nagkamali yon,
Mm.
right?
Actually, kasi yun nga din yung sinasabi that there's
Kulangan ng zero.
oo, possible. So, yan nga yung ano, they seem to manage it that way. And ako personally, as I view it, syempre we wanted to hear the side of the traders. They said this, they said that, but at the end of the day, ang kailangan na naman natin dito, if ito question ko, attorney, if ever sabi mo kasi kanina, 'di ba, using your words, PDAX is not cooperating or hindi nakikipag-usap kay clients. Now my question is,
The affected
maybe
users in general.
this might be a stupid question though, pero if ever makipag-usap sila, will these clients of yours or will the end users, particularly dun sa those who you represent, are they willing to open
Yes,
their doors with
yes.
something like that? To
For
just
what? Sorry,
for
willing to
settlement.
what?
Open the doors for
Ah,
settlement para mag-usap.
okay.
Oo.
I think that's always an option, but the showstopper here is the locking of the account
Okay.
because that indicates bad faith. Eh. Is it me who just thinks that this is like a hostage taking thing? Or call it whatever you want, ransom or what like, diba? And they can only do this because they have the funds, right? They are an intermediary that we trusted, we deposited. I'm not a PDAX account holder, by the way. I'm not, right? But I'm just saying the traders and users trusted, they'll put their funds there, okay? And then when they withdraw, PDAX has a fiduciary role to allow the withdrawal, subject to, of course, to certain limitations, like for purposes of money laundering, no, they can like suspend no withdrawals or subject to know your client procedures. Okay? Or other legal reasons like sanctions evasion, terrorist financing. Pero yung term na legal reason, for them, basta meron silang legal or basta, like for example, they're claiming it and they believe they have legal reason to like claim that token, then they can lock the client from the account. And we question that. Right? Kasi yung context nung nasa term ni PDAX to sinasabi, okay, that PDAX can restrict withdrawals or deactivate accounts if there are like money laundering involved, or for purposes of KYC or know your client or procedure, or if there's terrorist financing involved or other criminal illicit activities. I get that. Pero sa context na to, kasama ba dyan yung client ko na was able to find this beautifully priced Bitcoin at 300,000, purchase that. Kasama ba yan doon sa list ng mga illegal or illicit activities? My client did not hack their website or their platform. Right? My client found a good trade. And mind you, this is 90% discount. This is not like I will stop myself from there, but that's just 90%, and that's not totally unreasonable. Kasi isa pa yun sa sinasabi nila eh. Sabi nila, maniniwala ka ba na 300,000 lang yung Bitcoin? Sino namang maniniwala na 300,000 lang yung Bitcoin? That's just 90% discount, and that's market dictates that. And last year, nagbenta ako Bitcoin 300,000, so pwede ko bang pa-reverse? Kasi ngayon, ang Bitcoin pala dapat 3 million ang price. But when I sold that last year, it was 300,000. Pwede ko pala siyang pa-reverse. Right? Because of that. I know that's a ridiculous example. Of course, I understand. And that's just a hypothetical example. Right? But what I'm saying is, diba, yung 90% na discount, no, is not that ridiculous. It's not so different. Nakita mo may flash crash doon sa trading platform. Bumaba, nagbagsakan. Sabi mo, hindi ko bibilhin to. Kasi baka ma-reverse yung ano. Diba? May ganun ba? Bawal bang bumili? Pag nakita mo yung Ethereum sa trading platform mo, naging $100, naging $200, hindi mo bibilhin. Kasi baka glitch lang yan. Diba? And we do have cases. And that's why we're very confident about this our client's position. We do have cases abroad, diba, sustaining these transactions as legitimate transactions.
Okay. Fair enough, attorney. Kasi sabi nga natin, di ba, it's a story of using a use case that we had, di ba, not just here, but also abroad. Kasi they're also citing examples ng mga exchanges abroad that has the similar case. So,
Ang
yes.
ang sinasabi ni Nichel, iba-iba naman daw ang batas sa iba't ibang jurisdiction.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. But he's just saying that kasi the precedents are against him. But the precedents are in favor of my client, and we're very happy to leverage that.
Okay.
And our burden now is to convince the financial regulators that these decisions abroad make sense, that they should be adopted here in the Philippines, not blindly, but because they are reasonable. Right? They are reasonable interpretation of what should be done in scenarios like this.
Okay. Noted, attorney. So, ibig sabihin, the precedents, although it happened in another country, can be adopted for fairness, for fairness reasons, as you mentioned, no?
Yeah, and if the ratio, the reasoning for the judgment, makes sense, makes commercial sense, makes legal sense, reasonable.
Yeah. Sige. Thank you for that. Anyway, I will not hold you for long, attorney. Meron lang mga few questions dito.
Okay lang.
That we need to siguro, we need to address for our.
So you have a time slot, but I'm fine doing this. You can stop me when you want.
Ito, meron ditong mga questions lang. Let me read through the questions first, attorney. Then ito. Meron ditong question. about hindi. Ito, this one I think should be answer. Ang dapat sumagot nito is PDAX. Kasi saan daw napunta yung profit kung yung nung order, halimbawa na yun nga, 'di ba parang yung sa accounting kanina 'di ba we're discussing the accounting of cryptocurrency for example. Like in an accounting siguro yun na lang to address that, no, maybe we can discuss a little on how it should be treated in an accounting perspective. Debit, credit, books, something like that. So paano ba ang isang cryptocurrency? Palagay natin, it's legally obtained, hindi siya si XRP, hindi siya si USDT, si Bitcoin siya, si Ethereum siya. How do you do the accounting of this in our books?
Okay, okay. Well, the first answer that I should give is there is already some guidelines from the Philippine SEC on this, no, Securities and Exchange Commission. They issued it in 2019. If I remember correct, that's circular number 22 series of 2019, where they approved the interpretations of PICPA, no, yung sa mga accountants natin, yung ano nila, professional association nila. In that circular, they approve, SEC approved yung interpretations ng PICPA, and that guidance already provides some standard, no, or some basis on how we do the accounting. That's the best answer that I can give in response to this question. Because I need to say also that one, I'm not an accountant, and two, even if I'm an accountant, I expect that this will be a nightmare. No, it will be a nightmare to account for crypto assets. No, the guidance from the SEC is helpful, but it does not like obliterate the problem. The problem of accounting. And by the way, this is not just in the Philippines. No, accounting for crypto assets doesn't really matter. And also whether it's a security or not. Kasi sa PICPA na guidance, dinifferentiate din nila yung crypto na security tokens sa mga commodity tokens or payment tokens. So kung security tokens lang, kung XRP lang, how do you account for that? No, may guidance ka. But the guidance is one thing. The actual implementation on how you do it, the tedious process of bookkeeping, is another really kind of forms. I can advise because I'm not an accountant, and even if I'm an accountant, this will be extremely challenging.
Sige, Attorney Rapi, having said that, kasi yung actual question is, di ba, going back to the PDAX issue, if this will be reversed, di ba, sabi mo, this is being reversed by PDAX on their end, if this will be reversed, saan mapupunta yung, paano yung treatment dun sa naging profit? Yung debit credit niya kapag ni-reverse mo na. Basta do you have an idea?
Hindi ko rin I have no idea, but if I'm PDAX and I'm reversing this transaction, I will probably reverse them in my favor.
Okay, fair enough.
Kaya nga sabi ko kanina, there must be some oversight Hindi lang ng financial regulator, pati ng mga affected users Or do we just trust PDAX that they will rewrite or reverse these transactions, no, as is or before the event, or can't comment further. It's really difficult. I know it's difficult, but and I also feel bad for PDAX. This will be challenging. No, ang akin lang, there should be also representatives from the affected users, no, in this exercise, assuming that they should reverse. Because I'm not agreeing also that they should. Sabi ko kanina, settlement finality. #settlement finality. Right? But if they are being authorized somehow to reverse this and assuming that's legal, then di ba, the least that they can do is to for this process or exercise to have oversight from the affected users.
I see. Sige. Yun. Maybe that answers our question for our viewer there, no? Yun yung isa sa mga questions na highlighted. So, eto, this is a curious question, attorney. I promise I'll make this very quick. Yung isa sa mga post mo, follower mo ako sa Facebook isa sa mga post mo was, my client is not a cat. Sabi ko, ano kaya ibig sabihin ni attorney? Actually, hindi ko naintindihan yung I cannot figure out what that means, no? What that statement means. Will you expound that?
It's a call
For
for the
us.
community to help the affected users.
Okay.
So that statement, my client is not a cat, was remarked by Roaring Kitty, no? Yung
Mm,
sa Wall Street Bets during his statement, sa while during the Senate hearing of Committee on Financial Services, no, when they were investigating GameStop, Wall Street Bets, at saka yung suspension ng Robinhood, no. So the reference to, it's a tribute to Roaring Kitty for
alright.
standing up for the community, that their community is the Wall Street Bets. We also have a community here. And I urge the community to support my
Okay.
client and the other affected users. That's what I mean when I said my client is not a cat.
So it's a parallelism pala, no, with what happened in the United States. For the benefit of our viewers, it's a parallelism that you use kasi there's a
For
similarity with
those
what
who get,
happened.
for those who get it, it's a call. It's a call. No,
Mm.
we need help.
Okay.
We need help.
Okay. That's fair. Fair enough. Fair enough. And a good parallelism actually. If I can give that comment
The
and take.
best help we can get is from the community.
Sige po.
The
Sige po.
financial regulators can help us. And it's easy to, it's too early to say whether they will be able to, but we trust that they would be able to. But at the end of the day, the best community, I mean, the best, the best help we can get is from the community. And I don't need to say what the community need to do.
Sige po. Thank you, attorney, for that clarification and that explanation. Lai, do you have any further questions?
Not at the moment, actually. I'm good.
Yeah, me too. So before we let you go, attorney, is there any comment or message you wanted to convey to the community and also to your adversaries in PDAX, if there's any? Please go ahead.
I just want to actually nasabi ko na yung what I need to say for the community. And I just want to thank you for this opportunity. We've overextended. I don't care. As long as you allow me to discuss this matter. So thank you. Thank you. I hope we can do this again next time.
Sige, attorney. We will do series of it discussing not just PDAX. Maybe we can do some
Yeah, feel free to invite
collaboration.
me if
Yeah,
there's any value in my insights, and as long as I'm still making sense here. I do
sige.
understand that my opinion that USD Tether might be unpopular and might be
Yeah,
ridiculous for many
Uh,
of the community members. It's okay. We can debate on this, and I'll be happy to do so. No?
yeah.
At the
Sige.
end of the day, it will be the securities regulator who will decide on this.
right,
Of
correct.
course.
Sana magkakaibigan pa rin tayo doon sa issue na yon, no?
Sige po.
O,
Mm,
kahit hindi
no
tayo
problem.
nag-agree.
No problem. Thank you very much, attorney, for gracing our community with your presence. And there you go, guys, or
Thank
our
you.
viewers.
Thank you. Thank you.
Maraming salamat dun sa mga nakinig sa atin for the last couple of hours. And with that, I would like to say happy weekend to everyone who is viewing us today, no, tonight. And dun sa manonood sa replay, kung anong araw man dyan, anong oras, good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever time zone you are into. Thank you very much and
Bye-bye. Happy
goodbye.
weekend.
Happy weekend, guys.
Happy weekend, guys.